Okay, so this is the fourth time me trying to make this video. Um, all the other times I got caught up in my words, caught up in what I was trying to say. It was way too long. The last time it was actually going really well, except it got way too long because I cried halfway through and I had to check a message and it stopped and blah blah blah. Anyway, the purpose of me making this video right now is because I feel like so many people know my or bits and pieces of my story and why I am the way I am right now and why I decided to be transgender and just all this other stuff. But a lot of people don't know the fullness of it. A lot of people just think it's like a really short time period. No, honestly, this has actually probably gone on for about maybe 2 years, maybe even a little over that now. Actually, yeah, maybe 2.5 years now because um my journey really started near the end of my junior year. So it's been a while. Um so yeah, but another reason why I want to just share the fullness of this story is because I've had so many people tell me they don't think I'm serious about what I'm trying to do. A lot of people ask me if I'm serious about like going on the or going on testosterone, if I really want to get top surgery. A lot of people seem to have this like unclarity of what I really want. I've had people tell me that one day I'm a girl, one day I'm a guy, one day I'm in between, and it's just really confusing, and I need to pick a side. Now that I finally have, everyone just views it as a joke. Um, a lot of people haven't taken me seriously about it, and it's just been kind of like a struggle lately, and I'm not gonna lie, like I've just had a lot of insecurities and a lot of doubts, and if it weren't for Eric and if it weren't for watching JD Morell's videos, I probably wouldn't have the courage that I have right now to just keep going on with this and to keep going with my journey and defining what everyone says. My voice is raspy. It's because, like I said, I cried and I'm just trying to maintain myself and not look like crap. But anyway, okay. So at the end of my, or near the end of my junior year, I had this dress coat that I wore all the time, and it was one of the thicker ones. And basically, whenever I wore it, I felt a lot more masculine, and I viewed myself more like in a girl's body, but with a male's mindset. And it was really confusing to me because at the time I didn't know what gender fluidity meant. At the time I was bi curious. Shortly after, I discovered that I was actually bisexual and that I liked both sexes or genders, whatever. Um, so yeah, like I was going through a lot of things at the time. So I just thought that was just one of those things where it's like, well, just because I feel this way doesn't mean that it's not normal. And then I started to realize, no, this isn't really that normal, that most people my age, most people like me, most girls, and keep in mind, at the time I had long hair, so you could tell it was a girl that was dressing more masculine. I wore bow ties, like the fake ones that you could get, um, the ones that you can easily adjust and all that. I wore fake bow ties. I wore a white button up shirt. I would constantly wear this jacket all the time. I even wore a vest under it a lot of times, and then dress pants. So I mean, I was dressing a lot more masculine than what most people my age group dressed like at the time. And so, I just knew something was different. I didn't know what it was, but I just something was there. Over time, I tried to get rid of this thought. I tried to tell myself this was normal and that that I just was having a confusing stage in my life. And so eventually I just pushed the thought away and I tried not to dress that way as much anymore. And over time, it just kind of faded away. Get to the middle of my senior year, and I was told what pansexuality meant, what it was, what it meant, what it felt like. I realized that's exactly what I felt like, who I was, and just what I wanted to be. And so I made the decision to come out. I kind of made the stupid decision to just kind of put it on social media. And the reason why that was kind of a stupid decision for me is it started a lot of issues. Not only did I have a lot of religious family members on there, but I just had people from school, teachers, adults, people I thought were friends. It just started a lot of issues with that. So I tried to kind of hide that for a while. Um, people told me it was a phase, blah 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 blah. The stereotypical thing that most people hear, but just whatever. So I just tried to push it away and tried to hide it a little bit more, even though I knew what I was. Um, a little bit after graduation, so a few months after graduation, um, I was still working at Zaxby's. It was after Austin and I broke up. I started figuring out what gender fluid meant, and I was like, well, this is something I think I might be. This is like I remembered dressing that way in my junior year, and I remembered feeling this something that wasn't right, that wasn't or that wasn't normal, and just something different about me. And so it's like, well, is this what that was? Is this, me wanting or me thinking of myself more masculine and wanting to be viewed more like a guy, and then having days where I'm still feminine? And I'm like, okay, this might actually explain it. And so I kind of came out as that. I ended up telling him about it. I don't know why, but I did. I guess because I thought he was like an ally or whatever. Um, he basically gave the most F boy, most stuck up, most disgrace to mankind type of answer. As to if I wanted to be a boy, I would have to pursue after girls and go girls only. Girls only. I couldn't want guys. I couldn't be whatever. Basically how I had to be this big tough dude. I couldn't be feminine. Just blah 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 blah. I told him that wasn't true because obviously gay guys, straight guys, whatever. There's whatever. Um, so I just basically got him out of my life after that. I'm like, okay, whatever. Um, and then there came this football game around this time. And I decided I was going to go for the very first time out in public as Sam, as my guy self. And this was really great because this was like the very first time out in public I dressed as a guy. And it's really great, really awesome. Um, I had this group of friends. I had Kevin, I had another friend, and we just had this group of people that were either transgender or gender fluid. And I'm like, I didn't know some of these people even were. So I'm like, this is awesome because I felt like I fitted right in, and it was so cool because it's like high school students. I didn't even know that we're going through this for a really long time. It was so great. And so after the game, after this great feeling of just, I'm a dude, I'm one of the dudes right now. Like, it was so amazing. it was a really great feeling. But after the game, we went back to the band room, and it was really cool because, like I said, I was like chilling with the dudes, and I felt like one of them again, and it felt so great to be like just part of the band family again. And then that's when disaster hit. Um, there was a guy that I once dated that was actually at this game. Um, he was part of the band, and he just looked at me, and earlier that night he was already giving me a little bit of crap. He kept calling me by my birth name, and people would have to keep correcting him, being like, no, he, him, Sam. So yeah, that was already a little bit of a struggle. And he was just being an absolute jerk that night. Um, he just basically looked at me, looked at the beanie that I was wearing at the time. He snatched it off of my head. And at the time, I still had shoulder length hair. It was shorter than what I had it when I was junior, where it was like relatively around there. But it's the hair that I had when I was dating Hunter, but at the same time, before I even met Hunter, before any of that became a thing. So it was still short, but to the point where I could tie it up and where people knew I was still a girl. And this beanie was like basically the one thing that I felt like was pulling the whole look together. That kind of like masculinized. I don't even think that's a word, but basically that was like my masculine, more guy-like look. And at the time, I didn't know anything about like wearing sports bras or having a flat chest. Like I tried, but I didn't know what there was. I was just now getting into this stuff. So, yeah. Um Everyone saw my chest and they knew. So the beanie just kind of was the one thing I had. But took the beanie, he snatched it out of my head, and he basically said, he had given it to me when we were together, and I told him, it was like, okay, I'll let you have it before you leave. I'll let you have it at the end of the night before you leave or I leave, whichever comes first. I don't care. Just please let me keep it on until after more people leave, or until, it's later in the night. And he was basically refusing it, which is really stupid because he already had a freaking thing on his head. He didn't need anything on his head. He was just being a complete a-hole. And it's like, I was crushed. I was really crushed. I remember sitting off to the side when all the band was having their group meeting, and I was crying. And I remember oddly enough, Andrew was there, which is funny because that was one of the last times I met Andrew before meeting him again with Eric. But he was there. He asked me what was wrong. I told him just everything that happened. He tried getting me to wear his beanie. I'm like, no, it's not even the same. One, it's not the same style that I wear, and two, it's not worth it anymore. And I was so upset because I was like, I don't look like a guy. I don't feel like a guy. Just everything didn't make me feel like it. So I felt like I was stripped of my title that night. And yeah, so it wasn't the best time. For a while, I ended up hiding being gender fluid again because of the fact of that happening. I didn't feel comfortable out in public anymore. Whenever I dressed like Sam, it would be in the comfort of my own home, away from my mom, because she said she supported it, but deep down I know she didn't. Um, she disagreed a lot of times. She wouldn't call me the correct pronouns and names and all of that. So it's like, yeah, you say you're supportive, but you're not. But anyway, so it was just really difficult. And the only times that I would like really show Sam is like posting a pic here and there on Facebook. And a lot of time I was still really restricted because of family and friends, and just the same problems that I had when I came out as being pansexual. So yeah. That time I hid it a lot longer before I came out online about that. People kind of questioned me and kept asking, why are you dressing like a guy, blah blah blah, what's the Sam character, blah blah blah. So I eventually came out online over that because I was like, I'm tired of being asked, so I made this long post, and yeah. I feel like this is gonna be a really long video because my voice is not even all there, and my throat's really dried out over the fact that I cried the way I did. But anyway, so eventually I ended up meeting Hunter, and that was good and bad, in the sense that I don't know how I want to word this. Okay, but when he and I first met, we started talking, and oddly enough, when I told him about being gender fluid, he was really hesitant at first. A lot of people think he was really open-minded to it, and that he was like a really great supporter, which he was in the long run. He later down the road, he probably was one of my biggest supporters that I've had throughout my lifetime. But he wasn't so open when I first came out to him. He thought it was weird. He was very close-minded for a while. He actually almost didn't date me over it. But over time, he's like, you know what? I really like you as a person. I really love Sophia. I don't know so much about Sam. Still kind of hesitant, but I'm willing to give it a chance. So, we dated for a while, and like I said, it was good because he was a big supporter for a while, but we just had a lot of issues. As Sam, I feel like I was the perfect boyfriend. That was my first love as Sam. My first boyfriend as Sam. My first kiss as Sam. My first everything as Sam. As Sophia, I can't say the same. When I was still Sophia, I was a pretty crappy girlfriend, I'm not gonna lie. I never, officially cheated on him. I never really dated anyone else. I flirted a couple of times with one guy. I'm not proud of it. Um, I also kept trying to be friends with this guy because he didn't allow me to be friends with any guys, and I thought that was kind of unfair considering the fact that the majority of his friends were girls. So, yeah. Um, Whatever. But I just remember there were so many times that he would beg to me, it's like, why can't you be more like Sam? Why can you not love me the same way Sam does? Um, Sam is so perfect to me, why can't you be? And he was one of the things that kept pushing me to be Sam. And I was happy. I was so damn happy. Um, I was just. I didn't want it to end, really. Um, you know, just. Like I said, as Sam, I was everything to him. He was everything to me as Sam. Um, as his perfect little gay boy. That's what he called me. As his Sammy Bear. Another thing we came up with. Um, it was just a lot of things to him. He helped me a long way with my journey on being gender fluid. And I have it written down, so like I'm trying to like think of all this, but okay. As I said before, for a while it was really great. But there was something there, something that made me, Sophia at the time, really unhappy. Eventually, I just realized that Sam wasn't even good enough, and that he just really loved me for Sophia. And he said that he loved Sophia and Sam the same way, but deep down, I knew he just wanted Sophia to love him more. And yeah. Um so after a while, even though I wasn't really happy with who I was, I just I gave up and I kept the image of being Sophia. I hid Sam from society. I hid Sam from the world. I wasn't even happy anymore. I was so mad, so frustrated for a long time. And whenever Hunter left, people people thought I was so upset because of the fact that he left. But in all reality, I was just so upset because he took something that was so big and such a big part of me when he left. The one thing that he took was Sam. He took everything that I knew about being Sam and he just took it when he left. I really wasn't Sam for a long time before I met him, and every time that I was, like I explained, I ended up hiding it. I would have some very traumatic thing happen in public that made me not want to be him anymore. And Hunter was the one thing, the one guardian, the one person that I could be around that I felt safe with whenever I was Sam. And for so long, I built this image of Sam around him, around everything that I knew and loved about him. And for a long time, I was just this Sammy boy, the boy that fell in love with this guy. And and the reason why it was so emotional when he left is because I didn't know who to be anymore. I wanted to be Sam, but it felt like he took that with him because of the fact that I didn't know how to be Sam without him anymore. He was my biggest support. He was my crutch. He was my blanket. And it felt like it was just being ripped out of me. And I tried explaining to people that that's who I was. That's who I still wanted to be. I tried explaining that I just wanted to be Sam. No one understood. So for a long time, I hid him. And a long time, I was really unhappy. It took me months to finally get over it. It was around 2 months, if not even a little bit longer, until I finally snapped out of it. And when I finally realized this problem I had was greater than what I was dealing with. For a long time, so many people at work, especially my boss, especially Carol when she was still working there, Carol or Robin, sometimes Caroline, but at the time she wasn't there as much. But definitely Carol. I just remember both looking me straight in the face and it's like, Sophia, what the hell is wrong with you? Ever since he left, it feels like you've been on autopilot. And I thought this would like only go on for maybe a couple of weeks or so. But it's been almost 2 months now. You just need to get it together. Or else I really don't know what else I have to do. I don't know any other options, and if you don't snap out of it, I might just have to find someone else to replace you. I know she didn't really want to. And I knew some of it was bluffing, but deep down I also knew that if I didn't, I'd be stuck like that forever. And I didn't want that. And so I realized, that's when I finally realized. The reason why I was so upset wasn't because I was so pissed off at Hunter. It wasn't because I was so pissed off at the fact that I let him take something from me, which was Sam. It wasn't the fact that I let him win by hiding Sam from society. It was the fact that I was so upset because every time I tried to be Sam afterwards, it felt like I was pushing too hard. It felt like someone that I didn't want to be. The Sam that I tried to be after him wasn't the Sam that I knew, wasn't the Sam that I loved. And so, once again, I tried hiding it, and I was still really unhappy, but at that time I knew that it was time to just move on and focus on work, and I can't show that I was unhappy with my identity. And so there'd be nights I'd cry myself to sleep. There'd be nights I'd lay on my floor, I'd just cry, and I'd want to scream and yell and rip my hair out, and I was so unhappy. And that was before I made the switch and before I realized, hey, I need to snap out of it and get my life together. When he left, I was just